Hello everyone! Do you want to make tons of progress in Deltarin's new Endless mode? Then I'm here to help. First things first, before I go over anything else, there is no major special drop in Endless. You can just get Chaos. Chaos is used to make Jevil currently last longer or buy a single max income upgrade. There is no reason to do this right now as it does not give you any significant benefit. But if you want to do it anyway, fantastic. For this run, I'm running my starter special, which is Rouse here, though Susie and Chris are actually potentially better than Rouse in this case, and I'll explain why in a moment. I'm also running the Chaos King, Jevil, Rabbit, K-Round, Redeem, Haffy, and Starwalker. Now, the Rabbit's probably the most questionable of this group, but the reason that I took, or that Chris and Susie could be better is because of the new TP system. Essentially, if you can gain TP rapidly, suddenly Chris and Susie might actually be better thanks to their abilities, being more suited for combat than Rouse is. Anyway, I am currently running max income benefits. That means I can go up to level 8 income. You don't need level 8 income for this though, don't worry. You don't even really need 7. I have the full income boosters and the half upgrade cost. I have 3 upgrades of Jevil longevity, but I don't expect that to be too relevant to me. And finally, of course, I have about 6-ish upgrades of TP generation, but those won't matter too much until way later with the Chaos King. And even then, I don't think it'll matter too much. So, this guide, there's one very significant problem, and I'm going to get into it before we start. This is very, very RNG based. So, you can get a very lucky room or a very unlucky room. I'm going to be showing you all what I do in each room I get. For example, in this room here, I'm just going to throw down 2 redeems, and I'm set. But in later versions of this room, I'll actually hurry to place 2 Starwalkers as well, because the Starwalkers cost a mere 400 for 30 damage each. It's not terrible, especially since they have pretty high range. And if you just spend another 6 or a few hundred, they can quickly become able to one-shot enemies in later waves, or at least together 2-shot an enemy. So, over here, I try to get as high income as I can early on. So, first opportunity, got level 3. My record, in case any of you are wondering, I got to 32 and then ended up stopping there. I didn't actually die since the next room's 33, which is a safe room. So, I have a decent amount of experience at this. So, yeah, right now I'm using redeems, and this is actually pretty much it for the wave. Now I'm just getting income every time. There's nothing that can really threaten me. Again, you can get some bad RNG on rooms, and I'm going to be showing you what I do in every room to survive. The enemies start getting stronger, but we still get through those. Just to play it safe, I upgrade both of my Starwalkers to level 2, which boosts their range and attack. Alright, now we go into room 3. Every 4 rooms there is a boss fight, and then a intermission room. The castle rooms are more likely to be some of the best rooms you can possibly get, because of how just big the rooms are. Like, look at this room. The enemies are really slow because they're currently halfies, and on top of that, they're spawning far away. So I can just rack up tons and tons of money in this room. So again, this is one of the best possible rooms you can get. Early on, you don't need lucky rooms, but later on, the luckier you are, the better. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and place a Chaos King down, since when the Chaos King gets this perfect little angle at the corner, it doesn't matter that the Chaos King has a cooldown of 5. You actually, I think, just win this entire wave now because of the Chaos King. People have told me and complained that the Chaos King's quite bad. They might have a point that the Chaos King could use a minor buff, but in cases like this, the Chaos King is, well, king. Again, This, I feel 100% confident that nothing can get through this. The halfie gets over here and in just 2 hits dies. And that actually leads us into our first boss. Now, the bosses you can face, to my knowledge, are Lancer, K-Round, and the Chaos King, not to Jevil. I've never faced a Jevil while doing this, and I've done quite a few. Now, the Chaos King's the best possible outcome you can get. You can just drop a Jevil normally. However, there seems to be a problem I didn't notice. The King has more health than I remember. Shoot, that changes things. Normally the King has way less health. I think they buffed the King. Okay, so don't place a Jevil right away. Instead of placing a Jevil right away here, unless this kills the King, but I would not risk it, make sure to place down some powerful towers before anything else. I recommend, you know, place down the Chaos King on one end, some towers on the other that you're confident can protect you. I should still win since it's an early wave, but I did not notice they buffed the King there. Normally, Jevil beats the fight early waves in about 10 seconds if you just speedrun throw Jevil down. Let's see, let's upgrade the King there. Okay, enemy got through, but the halfie covers me. Fantastic. I placed this halfie to make sure I'm safe. But yeah, if I didn't rush in Jevil, I would have had more towers down, and I would probably have killed the King right then and there. But there's nothing to worry about, because now that I've upgraded my units, it's not going to put me in any significant danger. Let's actually just skip ahead a little bit until I can spend more money. Okay, next income booster. The enemies trying to sneak past my King are getting stronger, so I upgrade my King to level 3, which should help ensure that nothing is strong enough to get by him. On the other side, I'm going to place down a halfie, that way there's an extra 75 damage to enemies trying to sneak through. And the King is at 12,000 health, almost dead. I can't reiterate this enough, but if you are trying to do this and you do not have enough income, this will be way more difficult and you'll struggle to get anywhere near as far as I have. Also, I believe I forgot to mention this, but if you can't access this, you have to beat the Chaos King first. But I mean, come on, why would you want to even... Why would you be trying to do Endless Mode before you've beaten the King when you have to beat the King in Endless Mode? So I doubt anyone's going to bring that up in the comments. Let's see, so with that, we beat the 4th room, and this happens every time you beat your boss. These rooms are all random. Now, you reset your income. You lost that income you just built up. I know it's unfortunate. Okay, this is one of the more dangerous rooms. If enemies spawn back there, it's nice and easy. But if they spawn right there to the side, you get less time to prepare money. And every single second can count in this type of RNG thing because the enemies get stronger and stronger. Anyway, 2 redeems and I am pretty safe right now. Though once I get income level, I think 3, I'm going to place down my head halfies because 77. Ooh, I need the head halfies now, okay. Well, that's why I keep an eye on things. With the power of 2 extra units, they cannot possibly get through. Which leads me into my 3rd income upgrade. Let's see. This seems like it's very much a work in progress mode. They haven't added any special drops, which makes me think they're going to add special drops later. So if anything seems different from this guide, please be alert. Don't just imitate the guide if something's incredibly different or new. Though if there is a big change, I'll probably make a new guide. Okay, level 4 income. Lastly, I think some rooms also take longer to complete than others, which means you can get more income from those. Some rooms I've gotten way less income than others. But yeah, these 4 are doing a pretty swell job of clearing everything. If they weren't, you could upgrade one of them or place rabbits, the Chaos King, Rouse. The Chaos King is a fantastic unit for quite a while, and an upgraded Chaos King is always useful. So here they come. I'm just going to place my Chaos King right about here. I don't need it to cover this path since no enemies come from over here. And since they all have less than 200 health, I don't even have to worry about them being able to survive more than one hit. Also, that's a bug where if you kill multiple enemies at once with the Chaos King, you only get one drop. It's a little annoying since that means you're slowing down the 20,000 kills you need for halving redeem even further by turning 100,000 kills sometimes into like 500,000 kills or even like 10 million. Really depends on how many you're killing at once in those big groups. So let's see. Generally, if you have a really strong king placement, again, the king can cover the entire wave, as long as you get the king set up in time. If the enemies suddenly get stronger, I'm watching the king and I can upgrade him on a moment's notice. But since they all have less than 200 health, I don't need to upgrade the king. So we're going to skip to the end of the wave. Yep, I didn't need to do anything else, and I had the wave all won, which allows me to go into the next boss room. So in case you're wondering, the most difficult part of each round is not actually going to be the bosses. It's actually the round right after your income's reset, because usually you're strong enough, at least if you're running what I'm running, to handle the bosses of ease once you have the income. But actually getting the income, that's the challenge. Anyway, for the K-Round map, I like to place a Rousey down the back and a Chaos King in the front. Rousey will kill any enemy that sneaks by the king, and the king will kill everything else. And in case you're wondering, you can kill either C-Round or K-Round here, but K-Round becomes near invincible later, so you're going to want to be fighting C-Round, so make sure to bow. Anyway, this is actually probably one of the longest boss fights. I'm not sure, Lancer might be longer, but I think this is the longest. But for quite a while, a level 5 king will clear everything up to the boss, and the enemies would have to have over 1,000 health to survive a single hit from the king. And since the king can hit them twice in his range, they probably need about 2,000 health to get by the king. So yeah, let's skip to the actual enemy. Here's K-Round. So now you just type in bow as fast as you can, and yep, that wasn't difficult really. We're still in the early waves. So the main part you all really will need help with is, again, the first wave, at least until later waves when everything gets more complicated. But I'll still show you what I do for each map. Alright, so every enemy goes through the middle here, so we're going to want to place our Star Walkers on these pillars. Once again, they have to go through these middle areas. In fact, on this map, you could technically even make Star Walker your main unit, unless it's late, because then Star Walker can't keep up. But yeah, by simply just putting in 2 upgrades on each Star Walker, they're going to be one-shotting these. I'll change their priority to air, maybe? No, I won't. So yeah, the map's big enough. They can actually get away with quite a lot. And if you're concerned about enemies killing you painfully, then that's an understandable concern. But honestly, I don't think you're going to have to worry for a while. Just calmly raise your income until you start getting overwhelmed a bit. Because right now, this isn't enough to overwhelm you. I'll go ahead and place a rabbit on both of these, so now we get an extra 25 DPS to any of them running by. That will lower the chance of us dying. So let's go ahead and skip ahead. As I thought, I had enough just the 2 Star Walkers and rabbits. Alright, we got one of the best possible rooms, which means you all really don't need any guide here. It's a huge room. We already went over why these are fantastic. You get so much time to prepare with your units. But if you for some reason can't understand why this is easy, I just take a look at the strongest enemy. They all have less than 200 health, and I go, okay, this is pretty easy. But if you're really worried, I'll bring this Chaos King up to level 3, making it so they attack every 4 seconds, and now every enemy who wants to get by has to have over 500 health. None of them have 500 health, so go ahead, you should be safe. The worst case scenario is that an enemy somehow runs through the entire thing while the king's on cooldown, but with a cooldown of 4 and the coverage that the king has here, I don't think that's going to happen. So let's go ahead and skip ahead to room 12. Yep, I made the right call with level 3. There are enemies with 360 health, and the king will continue to one-shot those. And sure enough, that's the end of room 11. The room 12 boss, we got the last of the 3 bosses that you can fight, to my knowledge. Lancer. They'll probably add a new one eventually. Rousey, yeah, I just placed on Rousey. Lancer is pretty fragile, honestly. So I like to go in this room, place Rousey in the middle, the Chaos King right here, and then I wrap up by placing 2 Star Walkers down and bring them both to level 5. Since this is the final room before the transition, you can just spend all of your money. Every boss room is the final room before you lose all of your income. So you don't really have to worry about trying to upgrade your income. You just spend all your money on upgrades. Sure enough, you'll win and you'll be completely fine. In room 12, level 4 Chaos King is probably enough to clear all the land enemies. Make sure to change your Star Walker's targeting to air in the Lancer room. I don't think this is important, but if the Star Walkers get too powerful, they need to aggro on the flying enemies as soon as possible, or you might get overwhelmed in super late waves. So, now that I've gone over all the bosses and a handful of the rooms, I'm going to start really speeding up my coverage of each room that I go through and what I do, because I doubt you want to sit through a 30-minute video, or 1 hour. Alright, so room 14 here. It's a Star Walker room, so let's see. We want to place our Star Walkers on the side where the enemies will be all having to go through to get to the soul. And since we're still early on, the Star Walkers of just 30 can actually do a decent job. Since this is a bigger map, I'm allowed to increase my income while they're going through. Even in super late versions of this, you can actually get away with just boosting your income. If they decide to make the turn early on, just place down your Chaos King. I'm going to raise their levels to 2 so they can more effectively prioritize Star Walkers, since I'm changing their priority to air. This will become more and more important later, again, as flying enemies are stronger and more dangerous, and you need to kind of prioritize them over the land ones. It's still not too urgent for me, though. So yeah, the Chaos King pretty effectively can cover enemies on his corner. And then if I want to guarantee another corner safe, I place a Rousey on the other, and room 14's done. Room 14 done. Room 15. Okay. This isn't the worst map because of this corner. In fact, this corner will now allow you to just place down a Chaos King here, and you've already beaten room 15. That's sort of the nice thing about rooms of really nice corners, is once you upgrade the king, get that lower cooldown, the king can just cover everything, even the faster units. So room 15, let's move on. This is only going to get faster and faster. Room 15 done, starting room 16 against the king. So last time I actually went over this, and of course didn't go over it as well as I'd like, so let's go over it the way I should. Yeah, they definitely buffed the king. So, I place my Special Soul on one end, and the Chaos King on the other. If your Special Soul isn't Rousey, they can't attack as fast, so that is something to consider, that you might want to use someone other than Rousey first, if you don't have Rousey. Anyway, the king is kind of a monster and can cover their own side pretty much solo, just because of how powerful the king is. But we're going to get all of our units down before we do anything else. So once I get my king to level 5, and I finish placing towers on this side, I can then start looking at whether or not I feel safe enough to drop Jevil, which I should because the enemies aren't too powerful. But yeah, with the king having 1000 attack now, you will have to be very, very late into the game for something to be able to get past the king other than a boss. And now over here, we're going to get our rabbits down. And then 1K round. You know what? We'll place a second K round over here. Now that that's done, here's my favorite thing about Jevil. If you're worried, hey, I could place Jevil down, but if I place Jevil down, wouldn't I lose a ton of income? And I'd have to take forever to get that income back? Well, sort of, except if you're like me and just saved up about 38,000 money, then you can just immediately upgrade your income back. Also, I'm changing Jevil's targeting to strongest, that way other enemies that sneak over don't annoy me. But yeah, looking at this, the reason I'm using Jevil is it speeds up the fight so much to just drop down a Jevil. Your other units take forever to kill the king, but since Jevil hits the king for 2,000 a second, you save yourself a lot of time just to drop Jevil and deal whatever amount, maybe 30, 40,000. Anyway, there's no reason you should struggle with this fight. Just upgrade your units and you will eventually win. And then once you're done upgrading, drop Jevil. Now back to actually speeding up. Okay, so heading into room 18, we get a straight room. Now, later on, these can be terrifying because in these straighter rooms, enemies just run through. There is no corner for the Chaos King to use. And the enemies get stronger really quick. So here I set up 2 redeems, 2 head halfies, and that will protect me for the time being. Though it does look scary how close they're getting. I don't have to worry about that more until later waves. So since I don't have to worry, I get my income booster, and I just upgrade at my own discretion. Let's go to the next room, since make sure to place more towers, right? You all should know that. Most notably, this room seems to be one of the shorter rooms, so you won't be able to farm as much income if you're in there. Okay, we got a much better room, thankfully for 19, since it has a clear corner that we can drop the king on and get those 200 damage hits. We'll then drop 2 rabbits just to ensure that nothing goes wrong, and that should be enough until we can get king to level 2 and then start one-shotting these enemies. You should be able to handle the room from here. Let's move on to 20. What do you know? Okay. I didn't capture it on camera, but a sudden pawn man came out of nowhere with 500 health and a super high speed. I did not actually know about that encounter, but if you're in this room and you face that, make sure to have an extra cushion like Rouse to prevent that from getting through. If not Rouse, a upgraded or set of rangers or heads will stop them. Well, here's what they look like. They're pretty fast. Yeah, I'm going to just upgrade Rouse. I'm not taking any risks on these. If you ever feel like you're in danger, don't risk it in this. Spend the money. You have to start over if you make one mistake. But if you just do what you're doing, right, and play it safe, you don't have to restart. Don't be afraid of playing it safe. I cannot emphasize that enough. I've done so many runs of these where I didn't play it safe and I ended up dying. Alright, 20. It's another boss room, this time for Lancer. You all remember what I do here, right? 10,000 health, still pretty easy. I think this is weaker than, like, actual Lancer, isn't it? Well, even if it isn't, it doesn't change a thing. Rouse King rapidly will kill a Lancer, and then we get our Star Walkers down. All the bosses, you fight the same way every single time, so I don't really need to explain them. And from here on out, I'm actually going to skip the bosses, since the bosses are actually incredibly easy. 22 start. Let's see. We got another straight room, if you all remember. It's the same type of thing. We're going to place down 2 rangers in a line. That will handle the first enemy, but then as the enemy intensity goes up, we're going to need more. In this case, I think 2 rabbits will actually cover me on the 233 health. since the rabbit's goal is just to ensure the rangers do the rest. But of course, I'm not saying don't use head halfy. I was just using the rabbits to buy me time to get my dark income safely. And with the combination of these 3 units, I'm pretty sure that maybe some upgrades are needed, but I should have the room cleared, so let's move on. Alright, next room here. And we got one of the best possible room RNGs being one of the late castle rooms. As you can see, this room, the enemies are so slow. I love it. I don't think I really even need to explain how I could beat this room, but if you don't understand, Chaos King, level 2 Chaos King, and if you're still concerned, 2 Rangers should do the trick. Let's go ahead and continue. Ended up using a couple of rabbits just to play it safe, but otherwise, yeah, that wasn't a difficult round. And boss round, so you all know, this is no difficulty at all. Starting 26. Okay, we have some nice corners here, though I'm a little concerned. We're starting to reach the higher difficulty rooms. Right. 2 rangers. And let's shoot. I placed my units a little awkwardly. Head halfy, please. Thank you. I almost died due to my questionable placements. Oh, shoot. Starwalkers. Yeah, as you can see, one mistake like that and you're dead. I managed to hold on because I've made a lot of mistakes like that, so I knew how to recover. But that very easily could have been my end. And now I'm going to place down a Chaos King. So from here, let me actually go over what to do when you're in this suddenly massive uphill battle because of your mistake that you made, just like mine. Well, what I showed you actually is what you do. The Starwalkers will need a bit more power to easily defend you, which is fairly straightforward. Just level them up and they'll be able to cover that front. The Chaos King and 4 other towers on the ground will be able to do their job fine, and there's really no reason to think they can't. We might get less income because I had to spend more time on income level 1, but thankfully, since the first room of the new level is always the hardest, you shouldn't really need to worry about dying here, just because the next room will be 27 and you'll have income to start, so you'll be way safer. In fact, it looks like we might actually get income level 4. That is a huge relief because that extra bit of income will ensure our safety in the next room. That's thanks to this being a longer room. But yeah, if you don't memorize that this room is a Starwalker room, you could actually die. And if I didn't react quickly, gosh, that would have been annoying. Honestly, I imagine a lot of the people following this guide probably died before this just because of the RNG aspect. It's not really easy to just follow the guide and perfectly understand everything. I'm trying to explain everything, but look at all the different rooms, right? It's not easy to follow until you understand and do some practice. Anyway, room 27's a bit of an interesting room. Not because of what you would expect. Well, that depends on what you would expect. Anyway, I'm going to get a level 2 king set up, a Rousey. As usual, if you don't have a Rousey, instead of spending 5,000 on Rousey like I do, let's see. Rousey does 187. Every time I've placed Rousey, I would just place down a Redeem and Head Halfy combination, since I'm just using Rousey for the 187 DPS. 2 Rangers at level 2 have 120 DPS combined. And let's see, with that in mind, get like a Head Halfy, no, 2 Head Halfies and you're set on that front. I'm not sure if that was unclear and if people are going to ask me in the comments, what do I do if I don't have Rousey? You just use Ranger, Head Halfy, and Rabbit. That's what you do. And then in more difficult rooms, Susie and Chris should still be fantastic due to higher TP upgrades. But Susie and Chris will be more late game units than Rouse. Alright, at this point you're probably looking around the room and going, oh no, where's the exit? There's no arrow over here. There's no arrow over here. The reason this room's interesting is because sometimes the exit's right here, and if you don't know what to look out for, that could definitely give you a scare. Anyway, boss room, so we know that it's not worth showing because we can easily beat it. So let's go on to the next room. As a quick note, in the later Chaos King levels, I especially go out of my way to wait to use Jevil. There are two criteria I have for waiting on Jevil. One, in regards to Rouse, or whatever special soul, I want to max everything, including them first. Two, before I place down Jevil, I want to have enough income to immediately go back to level 5. So just save up, in my case, 52,000 and you'll probably have enough, give or take a bit. I don't remember the exact amount. But yeah, once I max everything out, I'm going to go right for the Jevil on the king. Oh dang, they really buffed the king. I saw some enemies, yeah, 1200 health. Having the K round protect your king is definitely important if the enemies keep getting stronger. And yep, if you have enough for level 6 income to be purchased, you can place down Jevil and immediately get back your income. Yeah, I ended that with enemies of 1800 health. So, king almost gets scary, but this is why you use everything I'm using. If you take everything I'm using, you'll be able to get through. I placed down so many Jevils there. So Jevil becomes pretty important later for saving your own time and maybe then making super late kings possible. But now we're in the danger zone. This is where people start getting on the leaderboard around room 30. And there's a reason that people die around this point. It's because this is a death trap, essentially. Thankfully, we got solid RNG and got not just a corner room, but a room that has a bit of length to it. So in this case, I'm going to upgrade, and my units actually can do a fairly decent job of keeping me safe. I just need to keep an eye on their health, because if they suddenly get more powerful, I need to be worried. One rabbit, and I should be good. There we go. Or no, actually 2 rabbits, and I should be good. And yeah, let's go ahead and skip. If the enemies get stronger, I just place down a king. Okay, room 31 is a straight room. Jigsaw's only, in fact. I might actually get Jigsaw for the first time here. Oh gosh, 1000 health? Yeah. Go ahead and place down your special soul and then some. We're going to need everything we can to be 100% safe here. Because yeah, these enemies are only getting stronger. 200 defense too, so only my most powerful units can pierce through their defense easily. Thankfully, Rouse is fantastic here. I'm not sure how Susie will fare, but they're far enough apart that Susie might be able to kill them by the time her ability comes back. Yeah. I think Susie can keep up, and Chris should be able to keep up too, since Chris, I don't believe, has a crazy high cooldown. But Rouse managed to handle everything thanks to my high enough income to get them ready in time. The enemies started coming in bigger groups, so I placed down a level 3 king who can hit them for a higher amount. I'm also going to start maxing out head halfies. And shoot, I'm still being overwhelmed. Okay, I managed to clutch it. The king should be able to greatly weaken enemies by hitting them for 500 each. But that's exactly what I mean by... I was wondering at first if I was going overboard with my spending, and then suddenly I thought I wasn't spending enough. You're going to have that whiplash on, am I spending too much or too little? Always assume you're not spending enough if you aren't sure. Because if I assumed that I was spending too much, I would have died right there. That's my first Jigsaw. Thanks, Endless. I didn't want this unit. Let's go ahead and quickly see what boss we're dealing with. K round, okay. I'm curious, will the pawn men be any more powerful? Oh boy, are they more powerful. Yeah, let's go ahead and place Rouse much further in the back this time. That way Rouse has enough time to boost their attack to 375. Just to play it safe, I'm going to get a upgraded head halfie too. Oh, am I dead? I am dead. Well, I did as well as I could, but as you can see, Endless starts getting way more difficult around this point, and I didn't keep up with the enemies. But I did my best shot. Unfortunately, when I first got 32, that might have been a leaderboard, but now 32 is not quite the leaderboard. It's unfortunate, but don't worry, if you want to perform even better, you can get titles of all the units, which will allow you to do exactly what you're aiming to do. If you're aiming for leaderboard. If you're just aiming for chaos, well shoot, this guy did plenty of that. But with that, I hope you all enjoyed, and if this guide helped you, please say so in the comments, leave a like if you want. And if this didn't help you, and you comment that this guide doesn't work, please keep in mind the game might have been updated since then, and also, this guide recommends you have max income upgrades plus recommended towers. So if you don't have max income upgrades, this is not the easiest thing in the world when you get into the later sections. If I had titles, it would be a bit easier, but even then, only so much. So, I hope this all helped you, and I'll see you all next time. Thanks for watching.